back on Morning Trade Live. Let's focus on Tesla. Shares are lower this morning after shareholders approved a new pay package that could reach $1 trillion if Musk and Tesla hit certain incentives and stretch goals. Shares have been volatile over the last 12 months, hitting an all-time high last December before dropping 50% over the next 4 months to April's low. Since that point, the stock is up more than 100% and is now moving closer to the all-time high level. So quite a roller coaster ride for these shareholders over the last 12 months. Tesla is the focus of the morning trade. Joining us now for a closer look is Schwab Network's my co-host Marley Kayden, for a look at this. I mean, as far as the performance in the stock today, it feels like maybe this was largely priced in, and I suppose everyone's looking now if they can actually meet and achieve what are just eye-watering ambitious targets here. What do you make of all of it?
It's certainly the pay package is the headline news, Sam, but there were a lot more headlines that came out of this shareholder meeting. So first, let's walk through the pay package, and some of those milestones that you mentioned have to be hit. Now, Elon Musk could become the first trillionaire in history because of the approval of this pay packages, but there are some very ambitious performance targets that he has to hit over the next decade. So the board of directors has made it so that Musk has to deliver 20 million Tesla EVs to the market in that decade. That's more than double since founding the company. He also has to deploy 1 million of his humanoid robots that he's promised that will transform work and home, which he calls his robot army. Currently, there are 0 of those. He also has to reach a $2 trillion valuation to get that first payout. Then he has to hit 9 more increases of $500 billion each to eventually hit a market cap of $7.5 trillion, and then add another trillion to $8.5. That's the final goal, and sustain that level to max out this potentially $1 trillion pay package. Right now, Tesla's market cap is $1.43 trillion, and Musk is currently estimated to be worth $493 billion. But there were some other really important things that came out of this meeting, one of which I thought was pretty substantial was Elon Musk saying that, quote, maybe we'll do something with Intel. He said, I'm super hardcore on chips right now, as you may be able to tell. I dream about chips, literally. Now, one of the things I'm trying to figure out how we do is make enough chips. Then he went on to say that he has a lot of respect for Tesla partners Taiwan Semi and Samsung, but maybe we'll have to do something with Intel. He said, quote, haven't signed any deal, but it's probably worth having discussions with Intel. He also then paved the way for SpaceX to potentially become a publicly traded company, saying he wants to figure out a way for Tesla shareholders to, quote unquote, participate in SpaceX space ambitions, saying, quote, maybe at some point SpaceX should become a public company despite all the downsides of being public. Now, those were 2 big headlines that stuck out to me. There were also some EV commentary here. Cybercab production expected to begin in April, saying that they're planning to do it with no pedals or a steering wheel, which could face major regulatory scrutiny there. Also goes against what the head of the board had previously said, that there would be a steering wheel. But Elon Musk says that there will not be. It doesn't have pedals or a steering wheel or side mirrors. It's optimized for the lowest cost per mile in autonomous mode. He also said that the manufacturing line could have a 10-second cycle time, meaning that he could produce 2 to 3 million Cybercabs in a year. In addition, also planning to unveil the Roadster 2 in April of 2026, then saying that production of that vehicle would begin 12 to 18 months from the date of the reveal. And then finally saying that he believes that they'll win approval in China for full self-driving by early 2026. They have a partial approval right now. He said they're hoping to have full approval by February or March. So a lot of really important headlines there. Obviously, this $1 trillion pay package, the main headline because of the size of that number, but a lot of really significant announcements out of the shareholder meeting, Sam.
I dream about chips as well, but they're the salt and vinegar variety, so a little bit different. But I suppose that explains the 1% move higher in Intel this morning. But as you say, so many moving parts and stuff to digest from this shareholder meeting. And yes, the China development is important as well, because they have had to actually partner up with some of those local carriers, the Baidus of the world, in order to roll some of that out. So, certainly key stuff. Thank you so much for getting us across all those developments, Marley. I'll check in with you a little bit later. Let's trade it now with Dan Deming, Managing Partner, KKM Financial. How are you approaching your example trade for this name, Dan? Good morning.
Good morning, Sam. Yeah, I think this is creating an opportunity here, some of the selling pressure that we're seeing from a broad market perspective. And moving Tesla off those near highs that we did see. And so I think there's an opportunity here to put on a wide range type of exposure to Tesla, define the risk, but have a big capture zone on both the lower end as far as it's at the top end. So I'm looking at a trade example today in December. It's 42 days out till its expiration, buying the 440, 490 call spread, and then selling the D 400, 360 put spread. You can do that for about $4.50 versus 430 on the stock. So it gives you a nice capture zone to the upside, and also allows you to get put into the stock at a better level should we see some weakness. But you also have some defined risk bands on this type of trade example. So even though they're pretty wide, but at least there is some defined risk metrics to this trade example.
And just as far as this stock is concerned, I mean, as we've been saying, I mean, you know, some wild rides that the shareholders have been on, everywhere from 214 up to 500. So, you know, no doubt that this has been well priced in as far as the expectations that this $1 trillion pay package would certainly be voted on and approved. But you know, where do you see the stock going from here as far as, you know, some of these ambitious milestones and targets that they have to clear? I mean, what do you think is sort of going to be next as far as the catalyst is concerned for this one?
Well, I think it's getting pulled down by the momentum in the market as well. I mean, we're seeing some of the froth coming out of the market. This is what we call on the floor back in the day as a tummy tester type of market right now. You know, we're seeing the NASDAQ down about 4.5% off the highs just a couple of weeks ago, and the Russell realizing even heavier selling pressure. So, you know, we're seeing some of the froth coming out of the market. I think that's pulling Tesla down, but the momentum longer term still appears to be the upside here. That's why I'm focused on this trade example today to capture a move higher here over the next month and a half. As we see, I think the market will stabilize. There hasn't been too major technical damage as of yet. I think it's just some of the froth coming out of the market, but overall, you're still seeing equal weight parts of the market showing signs of strength today, even with the selling pressure. So the underlying fundamentals also, I think, pretty solid when you look at this market. So I think Tesla's getting pulled down by the recent momentum, but longer term, and even in the short term, if we see some stabilization, I do think Tesla will go back up and test those recent highs.
Yeah, hard to decipher when most of the Mag 7 peers are actually lower today. I mean, Google 2.5%, Microsoft as well, Nvidia down almost 3.5%. So yeah, you raise an interesting point. Dan Deming, happy Friday. Have a great weekend. Thanks so much for joining us. Managing Partner, KKM Financial.